Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us for Crime Unveiled with Courtney Bennett. On this Tuesday evening, I actually have a special guest here tonight. Blanc Township Lieutenant Todd Gilbert is joining me right now. We're actually going to talk about firework laws here in the state of Michigan, especially with the 4th of July, fast approaching. I can't believe that it's already the end of June and we're already going into July. A lot of people want to know, though, what are those laws and shooting off fireworks? So, Lieutenant Gilbert, thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me again. I appreciate the time here.
Do you just want to
So
start talking about those laws and what they look like here?
yeah, the Michigan Fireworks Safety Act of 2011 um, dealt with where it legalized certain fireworks that were illegal in the past, and so the big thing is uh, that law and how it pertains to people in and around the holidays, especially. And with 4th of July coming up here, it's always great to, like I just sent out a reminder to our officers here about the law. So in the past, basically anything that exploded or left the ground was illegal. That's not the case anymore. There are certain fireworks that are legal year round. Sparklers, fountains, snakes, novelties, you're legal year round, but there's restrictions on those items that leave the ground, explode, things like that. Um, so that's because the 4th of July is a Friday, that means the Saturday is
Oh,
the 5th,
yeah.
that extends it for one more day. So from June 29th until July 5th, fireworks are uh, legally being able to be shot off. The ones leave the ground and blow up from 11 a.m. till 11:45 p.m.
Do you get a lot of calls during this time of people calling, 911 and saying, my neighbor's lighting off fireworks? Is this allowed? And then do you have to go out there?
Yes, our police department, like many across the state of Michigan and throughout the country, respond to numerous fireworks calls. Sometimes they get put out as, gunshots. Um, in fact, it might be fireworks, but um, you can only shoot fireworks on private property. You cannot shoot them in public property.
Okay.
So you can't go out in the middle of the street and shoot off your fireworks. You have to have permission. Um, can't be intoxicated while lighting off fireworks. And you have to be 18 years old or older to actually use fireworks, to light the fireworks, and purchase them. Um, and so the big things that we really ask our residents to do, really abide by that time frame. It's a window that you have to do this. Please use the window and don't go outside the window.
What happens if someone starts lighting off fireworks, let's say at midnight or 2,
Mhm.
3 o'clock in the morning? Does that warrant a ticket?
It can. I addressed and I address with all our officers here. Each situation is fluid, and so if somebody lights a firework off at 11:46 p.m., all right, it could warrant a warning or something. And just to be on the safe side, I tell my officers, uh, you know, give a little bit of a time window, maybe a little bit after, just to be on the safe side. But if you're lighting off fireworks at 2 a.m., you're a little past that window. Um, and it's still, again, it's officer's discretion. It still might warrant a warning, particularly if somebody is out in one of our more rural areas, and so as far as the impact on others, it might not quite be the same as if you're in the middle of the subdivision where the houses are close together, you're keeping people awake, um, you know, and, we like to document things in those warnings. So I always encourage my officers to go back and see if the person's had a warning before.
you talked about it has to be on someone's private property. So you can't go to a state park, and certainly you can't be lighting them off on a school like playground.
Correct, correct. It has to be on private property, or if you if you have a license to do that, like there's fireworks displays get licenses to do that in certain areas, or get permission to be able to do that.
When it comes to the safety of fireworks, are you guys going on calls and responding to calls of someone who might have, hurt themselves while lighting off the fireworks?
Yes, we just always tell everybody, light one at a time, stay clear. Don't try to relight duds. It's a great idea to have like a bucket of water nearby, that you can throw those in afterwards. There have been calls where people have put their fireworks like inside their garbage can in their garage,
Yeah.
and it's lit the house on fire, and unfortunately, and damage can happen. People can get hurt. And again, it's anything that explodes. Keep your hands, fingers, feet, face away. Bad idea to look down to see if it's been lit. There have been calls here, not necessarily in Grand Blanc Township, but here locally in Genesee County, where people have done that and have died. And so that's what we want to try to avoid. We want really to keep kids safe as well. Sometimes, people might think it's a good idea to, allow a child to light off a mortar or like a Roman candle or something that could be, really dangerous. And, it's just not a good idea.
Now, are you guys going to be upping your patrols during the, holiday week to kind of, deal with that, and then also deal with more traffic on the roads?
Yeah. So I have some grant money from the Office of Highway Safety Planning that I'll be putting extra cars out there at night for drunk driving enforcement and also for speed enforcement. So we're gonna be out there, and when it comes to drunk or drug driving, there's gonna be zero tolerance. And the 4th of July typically has always been the day of the most alcohol sales in the country, and so we want people to enjoy their adult beverages. That's fine, but just do so safely and don't get behind the wheel of a car and drive.
Do you see a lot of calls coming in this time of year? Is it more busier, would you say, around the 4th of July holiday opposed to other times?
It can be. Sometimes it's hit or miss, but usually with the warmer weather, people are outside a little bit more. They're off work usually a little bit more, and so that can generate more calls for service. And so, I know the last couple of days here with the heat, my officers have been really busy responding to calls.
What's your advice to people out there as we head into the 4th of July, if it comes to fireworks or just, not driving drunk on the road, anything like that?
Be safe. If you're in doubt, if something's a good idea, probably isn't. And, we really just want the public to remain safe. We want to, look out for each other, and just know that, if you're violating the law, you are subject to arrest and go into jail. And we really just want to avoid that.
When it comes to the fireworks law in Michigan, does Grand Blanc Township have an ordinance that supersedes the state law, or is it just over encompassing the state law?
Yeah, our local ordinance mirrors state law, and I think most local ordinances tend to do that. They can have them a little bit more restrictive, although the law does prohibit it restricts local ordinance from restricting the sale, storage, or distribution of fireworks. And it also restricts, like, you can't say 11 a.m. is the start time.
Okay.
That's the one thing that's codified within the law there.
As we wrap things up here, is there anything else that you want to talk about that we didn't talk about?
No, I just really want people to I want people to have fun. I mean, the 4th of July can be a really good time. It can be a great time to spend with your friends and family, but we want to do so safely. And I want the public to abide by the law, have a good time, but be safe.
Well, Lieutenant Gilbert, as always, it's a pleasure talking to you and providing that great information as people head into the 4th of July holiday.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it so much.
Yes, no problem. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks. Well, thank you for joining us for Crime Unveiled with Courtney Bennett on this Tuesday night. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your evening.